Hello guys and welcome to today's video. Today we're back with our first of the new Act 8 walkthroughs, or sorry I should say 8.2. This was released on Wednesday. I was on holiday until Thursday so I couldn't get these out, and also I needed to complete some of them myself, so obviously as I go through I'll be going through the video, sort of showing you guys each fight, talking about it, the nodes, and then the best counters for it, which is obviously probably why you guys are here, for the good counters. So let's, without further ado, jump into the video. If you are new here, please do like, subscribe, comment down below if this has helped you out, or good counters to help sort of other people out who may be watching. And yeah, we'll jump straight in. So nodes on here, I've gone with the weapon nodes. I think this was probably the easiest path in my opinion. The weapon node is easy to use. It's relatively simple. It's all just basically the weapon is for the defenders. Every time they're hit or you're hit, you have a chance of getting an armor break with a max of 10. Basically don't get hit, and that shouldn't be a problem. To disarm the weapon node, you have to knock them down against the wall, as you can see I did just there with Kitty Pryde. And then when they are unarmed, as you'll see now, when it's grey, they take 400% more damage while they are stunned. The problem with this is you have steady perseverance as well, so this is sort of a weird combination of nodes which annoyed me quite a lot. And basically where every time they throw a special attack, they gain the stun immunity for 8 seconds, which is obviously quite a long time. So while you normally have you would be able to stun them straight after, with the weapon node when it's unarmed, stun them to put on basically to obviously stun them, do all of the damage you can, and then it works lovely. However, because you've got this stun immunity after every special attack, and they gain power quite a lot because you're hitting them obviously a lot. For example, the Venom Paw on this path, he's got the power gain as you see on the screen now. Just makes it really annoying, and isn't worth it. So best counters for this are quite a few champs. So we've got Rintra and Tigra, both work really well for this because they've got the nullify, or the neutralize I should say. This just means that you stop that stun immunity. It means you can stun them way easier, because obviously after the special attack, if you've got the neutralize on, that stun immunity is not coming, especially against the cosmic champs, making it so that they don't do as much damage. This works the same for Doom. It also works for any of the other Mystic champs. Absorbing Man, who on the neutralizes or means buffs don't last as long. Mainly any champ who can sort of prevent that really annoying long wait on the stun immunity. If you can neutralize it, fate seal it, nullify it, whatever you can do to get rid of that stun immunity does make this a whole lot easier. There are also a few other ways you can do it. So I went with champs who had quite long special attack stuns or special attacks. So for example, on Hercules' SP2, he's got a really long stun there. On the new Hulk buff, the stun lock you can do there. He's probably the best counter for this, him or one of the Mystics, because obviously he's doing an absolute ton of damage at once, and it basically means that you can sort of go in, stun lock them, do so much damage while they're stunned, obviously as long as they're not stun immune. And then yeah, so his buff works really well for this. It's almost as if they created that buff for this exact fight. So so there are a few good counters. There are quite a lot in here. The passive stun with white mags can be really useful. You can also go with, as I said, obviously other than the Mystics, you can go with champs who may be any champ you sort of like, but a different way of playing it. The way I would do it would be either the passive stuns because of the stun immunity, or I would have it so wait until the stun immunity is gone, then throw your special attack that has a stun on it. So for example, Herc's SP2, Hulk is SP1. You've also got, off the top of my head, it's tricky to think of, but I know Spider-Gwen, if you're still using her, has a stun on her attacks. But it's basically just use as much as you can, do the damage while they're stunned, and that's really how you do it. The weapon node, you getting hit isn't a problem. Disarming them is relatively easy because you can knock them down against the wall. And it's just, once they're unarmed, as long as they don't have that annoying stun immunity, you can take them out much quicker, and this is made to be so much easier. So I'm going to go through some of these fights, which of the fights are quite difficult, who you might need counters for in that sense, and yeah, we'll talk about those now. So I personally would say the difficult fights on here are Silver Centurion. He's quite annoying, depending on who you're using, because of that the plasma and the passive shock he can put on can really shred you quite quickly. Because these champs have all are obviously 8.2, they've all got about 600-700k health, so they tend to be long fights. You do sort of want to bring in the counters that you can to make these fights longer if you're not sort of not wanting to have the really long fights. Sorry, excuse me. I would say that as mentioned previously, the Rintras, and the Tigers, the Mystics, the Dooms, all of those champs are the best champs to use. They if you can get rid of that stun immunity, it makes it so much easier. There are quite a few champs who will work now. Obviously, most of the Mystics with that, the Hood, Rintra, Tigra, Doom, Absorbing Man, Scarlet Witch, Wiccan, so many champs out there who you are able to use, means that these fights can get down quite quick. So yeah, that the Silver Centurion boss is quite difficult. Old Man Logan is quite easy as long as you remember that he has unblockable special attacks. And Venom Pool can be annoying because of his power gain, but if you're taking in those Mystics, you can sort of neutralize, nullify that, and it's not a problem. I'll leave you guys to watch the rest of these fights, sort of how I played them out. As I said, I really did just use Rintra for literally almost every fight, because it was easier, and then I did take in Herc just because obviously he's a bit of a cheat code. It's a little bit makes it a whole lot simpler, and yeah. So I'm gonna I'll leave you guys with these fights. Get to the boss fight, talk through that, and showcase sort of how I took that fight on. See you guys there. Hello guys, so we're back at the boss fight. For the boss fight, I've on my character swap select, I've brought in the Overseer just because he is already immune to sort of nullify all of those bits that you sort of need to take on this fight. This is because the nodes on here are superiority. To get superiority, you need class disadvantage. This so basically any cosmic champ, obviously Herc, Galen, Null, CGR, Hyperion, Cersei, whoever you want to bring in. But I also found that sort of science champs also did work for this really, really well. So the Sigil Witch nodes, as I mentioned, you've got superiority on that. The superiority gives you a fury buff every time you hit the attacker, while the nullify immunity is on. You get given a fury, increases your 10%. That's what that outburst is. If you don't have that, whenever one of your buffs is nullified, you get an immunity to nullify, but you don't get any furies. So as you could see, superiority is not major. Whenever any of you've also got return policy on Scarlet Witch. So whenever you nullify any of her buffs, then she gains 40% bar of power. So you want to try and avoid your Dooms, your Hoods, any champs like that. Rintra and Tiger do work because they don't actually count in that because they don't have nullify. They obviously have neutralize. So that's the return policy part of it. You've also got underlamp. So more buffs on the defender basically reduce your defensive ability accuracy. So you will take more damage into your block. You won't maybe be able to evade as much if you've got a champ who relies on evade. So I would just sort of say try and bring in champs who have a nullify immunity, or are one of these cosmic champs who you're able to gain that fury with. I obviously went in with the Overseer. He did quite well for me. I sort of forgot about the unblockable that she can get. But if you remember, try and keep your eye on the top right there. See if she gets the unblockable. If not, just basically try and bait her SP1. You don't take as much damage from it. Her SP2 you do take a little bit, as you can see, into the block there. But this boss fight, I've done up to 8.2.4, and I would say this boss fight is probably the easiest. This or the Deadpool one in 8.2. I think the boss fights are a bit easier. The paths are a little bit more difficult, and that's sort of where the difficulty ramps up a bit more because of the large health pools and the more sort of strict need for counters. So yeah, that's basically 8.2.1. Not too tricky to get your head around. A relatively easy one. Nice little start to 8.2. So thank you very much for that, Kabam. If you guys have enjoyed or these are helping you out, please leave a comment down below. That would be massively appreciated. And yeah, if you're new around here, do like, subscribe, and I'll see you in 8.2.2 probably tomorrow. See you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.